Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, Head Currency Analyst. In this video I'm going to take you through the week ahead analysis video. We're going to highlight some news for the week, the strength meter and some trading ideas or markets to watch. Apologies if you can hear a bit of a fan in the background. It is very hot in the UK at the moment, so yeah, apologies if you can hear that. But let's go through the data for the week then. So lots of data, lots of high impact data, and we've talked about when we do get high impact data in the market, we can often see higher volatility, and higher volatility can often lead to having currencies benefiting. Okay, so just take that into consideration when looking at the markets this week. Some interesting data coming up. First thing on or sort of afternoon on Monday, we have the Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking. He's actually speaking twice with another speech on Tuesday. So Bank of England news, or the pound, is going to be greatly affected by this data at these times, so be aware of that. We do have some central bank rate decisions this week. I say rate hikes because pretty much every central bank interest rate decision at the moment is being a hike, and that's not looking any different here for the RBNZ. It looks like we're going to see another 50 basis points jump here from the RBNZ in the forecasts. So it'll be interesting to see that. We then have inflation data out of the US. Now everybody is going to be looking towards this to see what the Fed potentially do next. Now looks like we're going to see forecasts suggesting a little bit of a high number on the CPI month on month. Core CPI is looking to remain the same. Now I think if we get a jump here again, let's just say we jump to sort of 1.3%, or we see core CPI go to 0.7 or something like that. That will show us then another increase in inflation, and that means the Fed may hike more likely by 75 basis points. That could be a positive thing for the US dollar. If anything, it's not a positive for the dollar at the moment. You know, the dollar's very bullish at the moment, so it could just add to the fuel there. We then have Bank of Canada as well, looking for a 50 basis points hike. So it'll be interesting to see how the Canadian dollar moves after this on Wednesday. Other than that, we have some more sort of inflationary data, PPI data this time, out of the US, and then all attention will be on the core retail sales on the US on Friday. So lots of big data this week. Usually when big data weeks come around, like I said, higher volatility. Going into the strength meter then, what has it shown us for last week's trading? Well, it's actually shown that the New Zealand dollar is potentially forming a little bit of a bottom here. The reversal side of things here is suggesting that you could be looking to potentially for some Kiwi longs going into this week, because we've had that reversal setup trying to form. Just be a little bit careful with those, obviously, because fundamentally the dollar is very strong, but you may be looking at your Kiwis against weakening currencies like the euro, for instance. The euro dropping here to the downside, which is that blue line running through. Dollar still strong, dollar just kind of continuing making its move up towards the reversal levels, and the Swiss franc remains pretty flat. So to me, that's a sign that the Swiss franc starting to potentially weaken, and we could see some downside to the Swiss franc as well. Other markets that have gained a little bit, we do have a little bit of a gain to sort of Aussie as well, okay, coming from those lows. But I think the main ones to focus from on a strength meter point of view is the New Zealand dollar, is the Swiss franc, as they are in those reversal zones. Let's go into some charts of interest then. So I'm going to start off with Euro US dollar. The reason why I'm starting off on Euro dollar is because price is going to open up within value. Now, typically, so what I've got here is the weekly volume profile and a 4-hour time frame chart, and you can see that price here is resting about the 101.85s on the close. Okay, that is also the point of control of last week. So when I say price is opening up in value, you have the value area high, the value area low. Okay, you can see all this section here. That is where 70% of the volume has been traded within that particular period of time. Okay, so basically, when price opens up in value, we can often see price trade from one side of value to the other. Okay, doesn't mean we can't get a breakout either. We could still see a breakout either way, but quite often when we do see these situations, price can trade from one side of value to the other. What's also interesting is the fact that we've kind of broken this sort of trend line here. Now, I'm not a huge fan of trend lines, to be honest, but the fact that we're starting to get closes quite high into this previous high in here does suggest that there might be a reversal forming on this market. Now, I think the dollar's pretty strong at the moment. I think if the euro dollar price was to rally, we probably would see a continuation of that downside pressure, but it doesn't mean that we can't look for reversal opportunities in the very, very short term. Now, these two value areas would be quite critical. I think if price was to drop back down into the value area low and we were to find support, we could assume that a double bottom pattern is forming here, and we could look for price to trade within the value zone. If price was to break out of value here, we do have a lot of low volume here. Okay, price can often move quite quickly through low volume areas, so we could see a move back up towards this little volume spike in here. It's around about the 104.40s, where you can see as well we had aggressive selling coming from this level previously. So I think if price trades above this high in here and above the value area high of 102.670, then you could look for price to try and aim for this sort of volume pocket through there. If, however, we get capped at this value area high, we could still see price drop to the downside. I just think if the dollar was to fall quite aggressively at the moment, it would be bought up quite quickly. Same sort of analysis with the pound. We are opening up, or could potentially open up within value. You can see the value this time is built more to the downside, suggesting that again we could probably see a little bit of a move lower. We do have a volume spike around about 121.08. You can see lots of little volume in here. The most traded volume is around about that level. So if price was to break the value area high, we could see a rejection in and around this area here. Now, the pound's going to see some volatility at the start of the week, so we could see a bit of a whipsawing effect, and I think if price was to rally towards this area, I'd be keeping an eye on the high of last week as well, because that could also be a bit of an area where price struggles to break above. So we'll see what happens this week on pound. Volatility could push price either way here, but I'm looking for potential sells on rallies due to the fact that the dollar still remains pretty strong. Kiwi dollar, so Kiwi on the strength meter is suggesting looking for a few reversals, so I thought I'd look at a couple of areas where price could find some resistance and see if price trades above those points, because if price starts to trade above these key areas of resistance where the selling has been aggressive in the past, it might mean those sellers are no longer willing to sell at those prices, and we could see some buyers stepping back into the market. And you can kind of see last week price has formed a little bit of a range in here, and again we've got the value area high at 61.85. Price is currently above that level at the moment, but this range here could be quite important for Kiwi this week. And if we were to break above that area, break above these highs just through here, I think we could see some further upside, maybe back to the 6300s, or maybe just kind of look at key structure high points where we're going to see 6260s, 6250s could be on the cards this week. If we take out these lows where price has been finding some support most recently, that could be a big sign that we're going to see some further downside to the market. Finally then, let's take a look at gold. So gold, this is a weekly and a 4-hour chart. Obviously, ever since price has kind of hit these highs and the Fed have been talking about hiking interest rates, price has plummeted here for gold. Now, what's quite interesting on the 4-hour time frame, I noticed we were in this little bit of a range. So if price was to break to the downside of the range, I think we could see an extended move for gold down towards these lows around about 1677. Reason being is because, again, if that, especially if that CPI number, if the CPI numbers for the US come in higher than forecasted, you know, that could mean that the Fed, the knock-on effect of that is the Fed hiking interest rates more aggressively. Now, every time the Fed have hiked or talked about hiking rates more aggressively, the price of gold has fallen. So that would have a knock-on effect on the price of gold for a potential move to the downside. Looking at it from a technical point of view, price is capped within this sort of range at the moment. Now, if price broke that and moved higher, I'd be a little bit cautious. I do have a level here around about 1784, which is a previous weekly low. So that could also be an area of resistance a little bit higher up, because I'd be very, very cautious of being a gold buyer in this type of market. Unless we were down at this area where you can clearly see the market has rejected in the past. So those are the charts to watch for this week. I know this video has been a bit longer than usual. I apologize for that, but I hope you got a lot of information from it, and I hope you learned a lot. If you did, leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel to see some more of our Forex trading content, and I'll speak to you in the next video.